Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Answers in Christ with the lovely Miss Heather Brummer here. And today we're talking about boundaries.
Yes.
Big word, very needed.
Yes.
But also I think a lot of people wrestle with misinformation or not having good perspective on boundaries or have heard a million different things. So I think Miss Heather's going to help us out a little bit with boundaries, understanding what they are, how properly to use them, and all of that. So I think the first question is, what would you define a boundary as? Because I think there's people have different ideas of what a boundary means.
Right. So a boundary is your own personal construct, if you will. It's kind of like your gate that says, hey, I'm protecting these resources inside of here. This is your heart, your thoughts, your time, your finances, your important relationships. These are the things that you want to protect because they're just not free for everybody to have and to take. So your boundary is like, hey, these are my important relationships that I'm going to invest in. So these are the people that are going to get my first line of resources. And then, hey, there's this other entity, whatever, out here that's asking for my help. I can say yes within my own time frame and means and all that stuff, rather than just, I'm going to say yes to everybody.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I think Danny's Silk terminology, a boundary keeps good things in.
Yes.
It's not necessarily meant to cause disconnection. I think people think boundary means like disconnecting from someone.
Nobody gets me.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, that's good. And then why are they important for us to have some boundaries in our life? Some people have no boundaries. Some people have maybe too big of boundaries where it's a little too much.
It's important just because we are meant to be in relationship with, our core people. We're supposed to take care of our physical bodies. We're supposed to take care of our relationship with God. And if we're not keeping our priorities and values in order, then honestly, we get sick. Like whether it's mentally, spiritually, physically, we get sick.
Yep.
Because our needs aren't getting met.
Yep. And so what do symptoms of unhealthy boundaries look like? So what symptoms would if I don't have healthy boundaries, what can I kind of be seeing, that would manifest in my life?
Any kind of physical, emotional, mental drains is a really big signal. Like there's something that's pulling on you, that's taking from you. Feeling like you have to say yes to requests. I mean, this can be from work, organizations, friends, all of this stuff. And then when I like to say, hey, do you have a person in your life that anytime they hit your radar, it's kind of like,
yeah, you just feel the weight like draining already.
Yeah, and like you haven't even encountered them yet, but they're like, you see them on your caller ID, or you recognize you're supposed to meet with them or something like that. And it's like, there's probably a busted boundary there.
Wow. Okay. That's a good indication. And then I think the most common thing I see, especially even just in like religious circles or churches, from pastors or volunteers or anyone serving is, but they need me. I'm needed there. I'm supposed to do it for the Lord. And so it's supposed to be a sacrifice. And this is like this religious obligation and pressure.
Yes. So if you can't say no, there's a problem there, because serving is supposed to be out of the overflow of our heart, the goodness of our heart. This is me saying yes to Jesus first. And so then I get to say yes to the things that he's put in front of me that he wants me to do. If you can't say no, there's a problem. And I mean, Jesus put up boundaries. Like he would be serving and ministering to the people, and then he would leave.
He would just walk away.
He'd just go. I mean, even sometimes his disciples were like, where's Jesus? They're already halfway across the lake or river or whatever. And then Jesus comes and finds them later.
Yeah.
So he put up his own boundaries. He wasn't always with all the people who needed him.
Yeah. He was by himself praying and recharging.
Yep.
And doing all those good things. But
So I was thinking about this the other day. Sometimes in the Gospels, he would physically go and lay hands on whoever the person was that needed him. But then sometimes he would, your servant is made well.
Yep. He didn't go in person.
He didn't even have to go.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm sure there's more things in there than that, but he wasn't always giving his full 100% self to every single thing that got put in front of him.
Yep. Yeah.
So you can put up some like, hey, I can do that, but I need to do it like on this other day or this other time frame, I can't meet that schedule.
Yeah.
So figuring out.
Yeah. Because I think that leads to burnout.
Protect yourself.
Yeah. And then it's like, well, now I don't want to serve at all because now I'm just totally mentally and physically exhausted.
Yes.
Which I think happens to not even just in the church realm, but just in life in general. And then now everyone's miserable.
Right.
Now no one's getting the best of you either.
I know. So yeah, making sure you're protecting like your core relationships. Like God is supposed to be our first, and this is the person we spend the most time with and that we care about the most. We put him first of our thoughts. And then it's supposed to be our spouse, and then our core, like our immediate family, and then ministry and job and all of that stuff is supposed to come after those things. Anytime we get those out of order, there's going to be suffering. You know, our people like in our household are going to be suffering, and then we are suffering because God gave us those relationships to not just for us to serve, but to benefit us also.
Yeah.
And
definitely.
we're abusing our resources.
Yeah, that's not good. No bueno.
Yeah.
So what does Jesus say about healthy boundaries? What does that look like?
So a simple way to put healthy boundaries is rules, like the 10 Commandments.
Okay.
Don't lie. Don't steal. Don't covet. Don't cheat on your spouse. Like these are actually very clear boundaries. Like whenever you start like jumping those fences, like, are you supposed to be doing that? You're going to be draining yourself because you're doing things you're not supposed to be doing. So that's one way to look at boundaries. I was reading, so it's Titus 2:11 says, "For the grace of God has appeared that offers salvation to all people." It teaches us to say no to ungodliness and worldly passions. So it's figuring out how to say no to the things that aren't actually good for us.
Yeah.
So yeah, you can just say no.
Yep. And I think my dad always says this too. I don't know if he got it from someone else, but your yeses will define your nos. So it's like, I've already said yes to doing this, and this week, which means I have to say no, even though I really want to help here or go out to dinner with you or help you with this fundraiser thing. Because I said yes to these, I have to say no. And for me, just that little mind shift has helped me set boundaries of it's not that I'm saying no to this amazing thing. It's I'm saying yes to all these things.
Right.
Which I think for me is helped a lot. And then what are some practical things if I'm, listening to this conversation, I'm recognizing I don't have good boundaries in my life. What are some practical things I can do?
Yeah.
To move forward.
I would say just start small. Like you don't need to go start like putting a massive, walled up boundaries like with all these people that, you do want to be in a relationship with. So where are the places where you're feeling uncomfortable? Like, because sometimes uncomfortableness is where we're growing, but sometimes it's because we're being drained unnecessarily. And so where are you feeling uncomfortable? And then what are the things that you actually are choosing to value? Like for my husband and I, we had to figure out, okay, wait a second. We have a value to have a good relationship with our kids. We have a value to stay out of debt. We have value for fun. Like that's a very important aspect in my household. So we have to protect these things. We're like, wait a second, I can't say yes to every single client that says I need an evening meeting with you because then that pulls me away from my kids.
Yep.
And they see me and they're like, "You're leaving again?" I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
That hurts my heart. I'm like, okay, so I have to say, hey, I can't. This is when I can meet with you, but I can't just give away all of my free time because it's actually not free anymore. It's been, I've allocated this for my family.
That's so good.
I try to remind people, if you start setting boundaries, you are probably going to get pushback from the people that were benefiting from your lax boundaries because
that's good.
They're like, wait a second. The honeypot's drying up, whatever this thing that I've been getting from this person. They're telling me no now. Like, this is a weird word. I haven't heard this from them. So it's okay. If they are for you and they care about you, they'll be all right. So
and respect the boundaries.
Yeah. If they were in it just for them, you may get a pretty clear picture on that wasn't truly a good relationship for you.
Yeah.
So
that's good.
Using clear I statements that says, "Hey, I feel uncomfortable when this thing happens," and it's reminding you that you have needs that you need to protect. It's letting the other person know that there is a problem in this scenario, and then you also don't have to explain yourself if you say no. You can just say no.
Yep.
It's a complete sentence.
Yep.
So
that's a good one. No is a complete sentence.
Yeah. You don't have to like try to convince the other person that you need to say no.
I'm a
And
good
it's
person
like,
still,
stop
but
that.
no. Yeah, just no.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's good. I think a lot of people, I need to hear that too sometimes. No is a complete
I
statement.
have to remind myself sometimes. It's good.
Yeah. So what other resources would you recommend? Obviously, Heather here does amazing counseling.
Thank you.
She's helped me with boundaries. Lots of people with boundaries. If you have a specific situation you want to
Sure.
talk through, she's really good about that.
Well, thanks.
But any other resources you can recommend?
Yes, I love the Boundaries book by the doctors Cloud and Townsend. It's really good. It just gives you a really good overall picture of like, hey, these are some places that we need to protect in our lives. And these are some really good scenarios on what a broken boundary may look like and how to fix these things. And then also Henry Cloud, more recently realized he has a really great podcast.
Oh,
so and he brings up boundaries a lot.
Yeah.
So it's really good.
Cool.
Yeah.
I love it. Alrighty, guys. Well, thank you so much for watching this episode, and we'll see you next time.